Okay, so maybe saying that Diane is as toxic as Bojack was a little bit of a stretch. But Diane is toxic. I think a better thing to say is not so much how toxic Diane is that she is toxic, and I feel like for a lot of people, she gets a pass. I feel like for a lot of people, because she is one of the better characters, people just gloss over some of her more terrible behavior. Diane has done some very, very hurtful things. She has some major flaws. And yes, she does get better, but Diane always gets a pass. Before we get into that, hi, my name is Brian, the Casual Brian, and this is Brian Casually Explains, a series where I go into more depth and detail about some of my more interesting topics. Shorts are just that. They're short, and I don't always have time to talk about all the different points I would like to make. So, made this series. So if you like this series, be sure to subscribe and like this video, and let's get into it. So look, I really feel like I'm still getting a lot of hate from my initial video about Diane. And I understand, and I'll take some of the responsibility. In the video, I did say Diane is as toxic or maybe more toxic than Bojack. That's not true. That's not true. I have to walk that one back. That one was not true. Now, I can say this. I do find myself not liking Diane more than I don't like Bojack. And the reason is not that she's worse than Bojack. Bojack is clearly the worst character. I mean, it's a coin flip between him and his mother. At least with Bojack, everyone involved is aware of how awful Bojack is. Bojack's aware of it. His friends and his family are aware of it. Despite the fact that he's trying, he just keeps self-sabotaging. With Diane, there's this sense of delusion. I feel like amongst herself, a lot of the followers, a lot of the people that watch Bojack, I feel like they just give her a pass. They completely give her a pass. And this is the thing that's frustrating. Some people say that the reason why I'm hard on Diane is because she's female. That's a ridiculous statement. That's a ridiculous and lazy statement. I'm not hard on any of the other ones. Obviously, Bojack's mother is horrible, but I think she's justifiably horrible. I'm not hard on Sarah Lynn. It's clear and obvious why Sarah Lynn's going through what she's going through. But I think that with Diane, because she seems to see herself as better than others, that's one of the things that I don't like about Diane. Diane is extremely condescending, and she fancies herself as some do-gooder, but she's not really. You know what I mean? It's like the Bojack quote. You can think that you're better than everyone else, or you can tweet for celebrities, but you can't do both. You know what I mean? Like, that's the essence. That's why I love Bojack. Not Bojack himself, but the show. They have such cutting lines, and it gets straight to the point. Diane, the whole show, until the end, thought that she was better than everybody. And she treated people like that. She treated people like they were trash, man. She was extremely mean to Bojack. Now, was their friendship toxic? Absolutely. Could they and should they have ended their friendship? Sure, that's fine. But as long as you're going to be his friend, be his friend. Airing out all his business on the set like she did, how traumatic was that? Awful was that? What kind of person does that? And she used to get so offended by Bojack saying that they're the same because, and the funny thing about it is that's something that Diane said herself. People act like the whole thing where she crashed at his house and ruined his relationship with Wanda just did not happen. And when she broke up with Mr. Peanut Butter, I believe, if you look at it objectively, Bojack was really trying to be a friend for her. He was really trying to show up and be kind to her. And that's one thing that I get frustrated. I get it. Bojack he's a toxic character. He has huge issues and he makes a lot of poor decisions. And he chooses the crap that he does in life. But I feel like the man was trying. And Diane, people will say, well, Brian, she was the one who took him to rehab. Okay. But she's his friend. And I feel like as a friend, she was a crappy friend. Sometimes she was good for him, but sometimes she was terrible for him. And they brought the worst out of each other. Diane is not that good of a character. People act like she's the best person there. She was not. Diane was not. Now, I will say this about Diane. I do love how she ended. I love how she finished. Even though guilting somebody for almost dying, it's not my favorite look, but it's Diane. It's a classic Diane move. Imagine how I feel. I get it. That probably shook her up. That probably was traumatic for her. What are we doing? Are we guilting people? It's just like, Why does Diane get a pass? Keep getting these comments about, it's only because she's a female. It's me having critique of Diane is a red flag. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. All right. I feel like that's a very lazy take, a very lazy opinion. And it's, you're just kind of casting off the fact that I don't like it. If I'm watching a show and I'm not resonating with a character, that's fine. And I'm telling you the reason why is because I find her to be condescending. I find her to be a mean-spirited person, a selfish, very selfish person. And everybody seems to give her a pass. Everyone's like, oh, it's all good. It's all good because she wants to be good. And it's like at a certain point, just simply wanting to be better, it's the same as Bojack. He wanted to be better. He chose to be better and he got better, but then he chose to go back down the path that he was already traveling. Thankfully, Diane probably is the only character in Bojack that finally changed herself for the better. Bojack is full of selfish people. And I think that by comparison to Bojack and his ridiculously absurd, toxic life, we kind of gloss over the fact that Mr. Peanut Butter is toxic. The fact that Todd was not that great of a friend at the beginning. He's just kind of like naive and simple. Todd was for Todd. I'm not really explaining. I mean, I am. I'm trying to explain that I think that the reason why I have a big issue with Diane and how people view Diane is that I feel like everyone gives her a pass. And if you're going to give grace, give grace. I feel like most of the characters in Bojack are trying to be a better person. And I'm all for grace. I promise you, I am all for grace. But if we're going to give grace, let's give grace. You know what I mean? Give grace. Bojack was trying to be a better person, really trying. It kind of made me depressed with Bojack because it just kind of made you feel like life will not let you be better. It will not let you change and be a better person. But then Diane, she got it. She got to be a better person. She got to be the best version of herself. And I love that for her. And I love who she was at the end. But for the majority of the show, Diane was not a good character. She was not a great person. She was not a good friend. And everybody gives Diane a pass. Those are just my thoughts casually. If you like this, and I did a little bit more of explaining in this video. So if you want to check that out, and if you want to see other videos or other casually explained videos, check out this playlist. I have a ton of shorts. I have a ton of videos. So subscribe for more. And until the next time, stay casual.